Professor, back in the set. I know, right? I just blasted your ears out on that one. I got a close friend of mine, good friend. We go way back like a Cadillac seat. Miss Lady, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Robin, and I am from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, born and raised in Indiana.
That's the crib. That's where we from. That's what we do. That's what
Woo,
we
woo,
do.
woo, woo, woo.
And people are like, you a Hoosier?
That's
You
right.
are a, I know, right? Hold on, wait a minute. All right, so before we get into the topic, I do have something that's kind of crazy because I heard this yesterday from a person that was from the Midwest. And it's something I said in a podcast, and she was like, you know, as Midwesterners, we do, she used the word passive aggressive. She
Oh,
said, we're not like New Yorker people, we're not in your face. She said, we're passive aggressive people when it comes to conflict.
interesting.
And she's from Minneapolis.
Mm,
And so she lives down here in Florida. So her and I were sitting there talking.
right.
And so she was just like, Chris, she was just like, it is true when you leave your environment and you start to maneuver or you start to go elsewhere. Because she's
Hmm.
from Minneapolis, she's in South Florida. She's a single woman she's dating. And she was just like, I'm not like New Yorkers where they're, conflict, then I'm ready to get my point across. She was just like, no. She said, I feel like with us Midwesterners, we are, when it comes to conflict,
Right.
passive aggressive. Like we'll let the shit unfold,
Right. Right.
feel about it, but then we will talk about it when the moment is right.
I would have to agree with that to a certain point because I am the type
No.
of I am the type of woman that if something pops off, if I'm involved with someone, I know me. I'm 47 at this point, so I know who I am as a lady. And sometimes when a conflict occurs in a relationship, you need some time to go to your corners and to marinate a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And then when your mind is right and you're able to engage in a respectful conversation, then you reconvene. I wouldn't use the word passive aggressive necessarily. I would use
Okay.
more of just, I need some space. That tends to be my party line. Like, I want to talk to you about it, I want to resolve it, but I'm going to need a little space.
Okay. Because when she said that to me as we were sitting there talking about it yesterday, I kind of thought about it. I said, even as a man, I'm not built for conflict. I said, I don't like conflict, especially in relationships.
Right.
I kind of try to stay away from conflict. But I did say, I'm one of those type of dudes where I'm going to sit back. Well, let's talk about it later, or yeah, hit me up with that shit later. Like time and place.
There's a time and place for
Yeah.
everything. And there's also varying degrees on how
Yeah.
pissed off you are. Either
Right.
there are some situations you can sit and talk to your partner right there at the moment. If it's like DEFCON 5, as I've
Yeah.
mentioned it, like in war games, okay, I need for you to give me some space. I want to talk about it, but if I talk about it now, I know how I am and I'm going to pop off at the mouth and I'm going to say something that I'm going to regret. I don't want to do that because I love you. So give me a second, maybe give me a couple hours and I'll ask you if you're ready to talk when I'm ready. If you're not and you need some space, I'll respect that, but I want to resolve it. It's all about
Got
resolution. Peace is very important, Chris, people at our age. We're almost what? We're at our 50s almost. I
We're
mean, I
past
just
the
turned,
mid. We're past
yeah.
the we're past the midway point.
Peace is imperative right now.
Hey, you ain't lying. You. Oh my
I have
goodness.
I need to preserve my peace at all costs. And if anybody comes into my life interfering with my peace, it's just not going to work. It's not going to
And you
work.
know what? And you speak of that, and it's crazy because as we are closer, are getting in our 50s. What was life like? And I'm asking you as a woman, as you're
Yeah.
matriculating through. What was your topic or your top priorities when you were in your, I would even say 20s, because you and I go way back to Alabama A&M,
Way back. Yes.
way back to Alabama A&M. But I'm gonna keep A&M at A&M because when we
Okay.
were A&M, A&M, woody, woody, yeah, that was us.
Yes.
But once you graduated and got into the whole world,
Yeah.
because right now you said something very interesting, peace,
Yeah. Yeah.
top priority.
Right.
As a woman, what was it like, or how was it like as you got to this point? What was priority then, and as opposed to priority now?
Well, upon graduation, I was in Alabama and then I moved to Maryland because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go back to Indiana. So my
Mhm.
independence was very important. I wanted to maintain that. So I
Mhm.
wanted to know what it was like to live on my own. You know, living in college, living in a dorm, and physically living on your own are two totally separate entities.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
my parents raised me to be very independent, and I wanted to experience that. I could have very easily gone back to Indiana. My dad still had my bedroom all set up and everything.
Uh-huh.
I was still 12 years old, but I didn't want that. I wanted my independence, and I wanted to move to Maryland. I wanted to explore, and I wanted to know what it was like to go out to the clubs and stay out all night without worrying about studying
Yeah.
and getting a
Right.
job and paying bills, as crazy as it sounds. But
Mhm.
that was my mindset. I wanted to get my own apartment. I wanted to just know what it was like to be a single woman in the DMV, DC metropolitan area. That was my goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, now you have matriculated into peace.
Yes, I have in more ways
What
than
has
one.
moved you into peace as a top priority? What has moved? Because we're going to get into the topic in a second.
Ooh, I can't
But
wait.
what has moved you into peace?
Life experiences. Yeah.
Okay.
I think, trials and not only trials and tribulations, but accomplishments and kind
Okay.
of those milestones that each of us experiences as we go through this thing called life, as Prince put it.
Hmm.
And you live and you learn from your mistakes, and you get back up and move forward. But the one thing I've realized is through this matriculation or this journey that I've experienced, I've learned so much about me as a person,
Okay.
as a woman, the
Okay.
things that I will accept, the things that are non-negotiables for me in a relationship. And when I just talk about relationship, I'm not just talking about a romantic relationship, but also my friendships too.
Okay.
There are certain things that I know about me. I know when I'm going to pop off. I know my triggers. I know everything about Robin. And I
Okay.
think that's the beautiful thing about going through life and experiencing things, because with each of the situations, you have one or two options. You can either look at it as, oh my gosh, why does this situation keep happening to me? Or you can be reflective
Okay.
and say, okay, what did I learn from this experience? What did I learn about me? And I think many people have a hard time with that. I know I did when I was going through my 20s and my 30s, because I just like, oh my God, all these men are dogs. And all they want to do is just screw me, and they don't want to get to know me, and they don't want to love me, and
Yeah.
but then you get to learn about yourself, and like, what part did I play in that um to entertain this foolishness,
Mm.
to take those certain behaviors for men. And let me preface by saying, Chris, before we go into our topic, that I'm not saying that all men are in this particular category. I think
I
there are
get it.
varying men, and based on where you are in your life as a woman will help you determine the type of men that you not only attract, but the men that you entertain. And the same goes for men. The same women, the type of women that you attract and the type of women that you entertain. But my
Okay.
piece is very important to me, and that means that it's not always about having someone in my life. I've also learned about me that I am just as comfortable being single and being happy and being content in my single season than I've ever been. I was single at one point for 12 years, and I was okay with that because I was determined not to just have a man in my life for the sake of having a man in my life. I wanted a quality man. I wanted a man that I was
Ooh.
going to spend the rest of my life with, that I could
Ooh.
tell my parents about and introduce to my brother who's 6'6",
Right.
200 plus
Yeah.
pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted a man who was confident in who he was, and was secure in who he was, and was able to take care of himself, and was able to bring something to the table, because I have a lot to bring to the table, and I would want my partner, potential partner, to bring something to the table as well.
So let me ask you a question.
What's up?
If you were single for 12 years,
Yes.
is it hard? And this is just so out off the radar. Because I mean, I'm dating as well. I'm out there and
Yeah.
I hear women saying that I'm comfortable being single. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, I was comfortable being single in my 30s.
Right.
I'm not comfortable being single in my 40s.
I understand. And let me clarify that statement, because
Okay.
I'm sure if people hear this, that can go into 15 different directions. So I'll clarify.
Okay.
When I say that I'm comfortable being single, that means that I am comfortable doing the things that I would probably want to do if I was in a relationship. I am comfortable traveling by myself. I'm comfortable going out to eat by myself. I'm comfortable finding things to do. I'm comfortable understanding that I have my subset of friends, that I have my church family, and I have my girlfriends. But life doesn't stop just because you don't have someone in your life. You have to be able to love you and to be comfortable with
Mhm.
who you are, because when it's all said and done and the dust is clear, you are going to be alone at certain junctures in your life. You're not always going to have somebody. And you can't put that much responsibility on another person to bring happiness to you or to me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what I mean by that. That
Yes.
if I'm single or in a relationship, the one thing that two things are going to be constant: my peace and my happiness. I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be at peace regardless. Does that mean that I don't want a partner? Absolutely. I'm
So
47
then
years old and I
basically,
live in this great house. I don't want to be in this house by myself. But until that
mhm.
happens, I'm going to keep living life and I'm going to keep doing those things that I want to do until that person comes along.
So basically, let me break this down in layman's terms because we hear this shit all the time.
Yeah.
You're comfortable doing you.
How about
So
that?
because we always say in the single universe, we always say you do you, I do me, and we do we.
Uh-huh.
So what you just laid out is you're comfortable doing you. So in I guess in the grand scheme of things, you want a man that can do him, and then also both of you guys can transition together and do we.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. I want him to have his stuff. He's doing his thing. He's living his life. He's going to his job. He's being with his frat brothers and his friends, and he's taking care of his family. He's providing for himself. He's traveling. He's doing these things because he's content in who he is.
Right.
Just like I'm content in who I am. I will never put a responsibility on a man to make me whole. I'm already a whole woman. I am complete. I get tired when I hear the phrase, you complete me. Like, this is not Jerry
Hey,
Maguire. I'm already complete.
well, I'm gonna tell you some wild shit though. Oh boy, and everybody on this podcast gonna be like, oh shit, I don't know. I knew he didn't say that.
Oh,
I'm gonna keep it
okay.
100. Yeah,
Go
and
ahead. I know you about to go there. What is it?
I ain't gonna even lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I told my ex-wife when we were going through our divorce, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep it 100.
Keep it 100, Chris.
I told her she would never be a complete woman.
Well, kiss my grits. Really?
Yep, yep. I told her that straight up, real talk. I mean, I'm coming 1,000 on this one.
And you
And
said that because,
when you have the ability and wasn't out of anger, it wasn't out of spite, as
right.
we were sitting there talking, because I said I would never be a complete man without you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you have the ability to love someone greater than you love yourself,
Yes.
I said that I said that to her is because you know how to love yourself,
Right.
but you don't know how to love me greater than you. And I don't know
Interesting.
how to love you. I know how to love me. I can love all of this chocolateness, but in
So
order
extra.
to
So extra.
but in order for me to be a complete man and be that selfless, and I hear that shit all the time,
Yeah.
I need to love someone greater than I love myself under God.
Absolutely. Okay.
After God, before me, that entity.
Come on now. You
And
about to
in
make me speak
my
in tongues. Ishidabosata. Come on, Jesus.
but that's why I just said
Yeah.
I'm not complete. And I believe that in my heart to this hour is because I don't love someone like I've loved me for 40 something years.
Right.
I've loved God for 40 something years.
Right.
But that entity that comes before me after God,
Yes.
I don't have that. And that is what I believe I'm missing, is to give, to inject my energy, and that person inject their energy and their perspectives and their, I should say, their roots inside of me. So now my roots so my leaves can grow. My leaves are growing based upon my ideologies.
And I totally agree with you on that. When I talk
Mm-hmm.
about complete, I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about kind of in the very literal sense, because there are some
Okay.
women out there that say that, you know, I'm going to be nothing without you. I'm not happy without you unless I have you in my life. And that's a lot of pressure to put on another person,
Right.
because a human being is flawed. That's a flawed
Yes.
person. And to
Yes.
put that much responsibility on somebody to give you happiness or to fill
I
a
see what you're saying.
void that should be
Yes.
filled when someone comes into your life. You should be a whole,
Right.
in my opinion, I am a whole woman and I want to be whole when God blesses me with that man that is going to be my husband. I don't want to put the responsibility on my husband to say that if he's having a pissy day, that it's going to mess up my whole day because he is
Right.
in a funky mood. I'm still going to be happy. I'm going to be concerned about him, but I don't want to put that much pressure on another person.
Right.
Am I looking forward to having somebody in my life to add value to my life? Absolutely. I don't want to sleep in that king size bed by myself. I'm doing it because that's just where I am in my season, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't desire to have someone, a man in my life to love and to be my best friend, to love me more than I love myself, to pray for me more than I pray for myself.
Okay.
That's absolutely what I want. Does that clarify
Right.
things?
Yeah, it makes sense
Okay.
because, like you just stepped back and said, it's not a void that they're
Right.
coming in and fill in because you are already complete in who
That's
you are.
yes,
It's an
absolutely.
expansion. And like I said, it
Yes.
goes back to the tree. I'm already a tree. I just
There you
need to
go.
grow as a tree.
There you go. Yes.
I got it. I got it.
Uh,
I got it. I got it. I hope people on this podcast can be like, oh my God, they over there talking some science.
they're deep. They're deep.
They deep in the mud. They deep. So here we go. As I'm leading into this, because you sent me this topic, and I've been thinking about this topic all week because I got both sides that I got to share with this one. I harem or happily ever after, the choice is yours. Men who have difficulties removing former lovers from their lives while in a committed relationship.
My.
Woo! Men who have difficulties removing former lovers from their lives while being in a committed relationship. Now, that can go a multitude of ways.
It can.
So explain to me what your thoughts were, or your thoughts are.
So, being completely transparent, this
Yes.
was birthed from um, my ex about 3 months ago. I was in months ago. I was in a relationship. It started in August, and things were going extremely well. We were very communicative towards each other, and it was really leading towards moving to that next level. And when I say moving to that next level, Chris, you know me, like I don't take anybody around my family unless they're like the bee's knees.
I dig it.
So yeah, it was getting to that point. But then after about maybe month 6, I started to notice something. I started to notice that he wasn't really picking up certain phone calls. When I was in his car, there were numbers that would pop up on his screen, but there wouldn't be any names connected to those numbers.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
That's what I do.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And with us women, it's known kind of as a sixth sense. You kind of have that spidey sense as a woman. It's that intuition, that discernment that I have, and something wasn't feeling right in my spirit. It was just off. And when I confronted him and asked him about it, unfortunately, this particular man was saying, he tried to flip it, do the reverse psychology. Oh, you're just,
Paranoid.
you're paranoid, you're being overly sensitive, you are not being that confident person that I fell in love with. What is going on with you? So he tried to flip it on me.
Okay.
And I flipped it right back on him. No, I am very confident, and this is what I'm seeing, and this is what you've been doing for the past 2 weeks. I've just been sitting back marinating, just checking you out, but this is what's going on. And I said, so I know that you have been with quite a bit of women in your past, and I want to know, do these women know, one, do they know about me? Do they know that you're in a committed relationship? Because prior to, he told me yes. We had very transparent conversations, because Chris, you know me, I'm the type of woman, I'm not going to commit unless I understand that both of us are on the same page as far as values and everything else.
Right.
The commitment. Oh no, they know about you. Really? Okay, so they know who I am. They know you're in a committed relationship. And he told me yes at the time, but his actions did not align with his words. And I think as women, sometimes we fail to identify that. We get so caught up in the words that we don't really pick up on the actions. because the actions should really have more weight than the words.
Okay.
And over the past couple months, when I was, or weeks, as I was kind of observing him, I noticed that his actions weren't necessarily lining up. And that's when I confronted him. And I said, so tell me what's going on. Because I'm getting a sense, I'm getting, my spirit is telling me something's not right here. And he said, well, I mean, the townhouse that I got, yeah, okay, it was from my ex-girlfriend. She's a realtor. And yeah, yeah, we slept together quite a few times, but that was before I met you. I was like, well, you didn't tell me that before.
Hmm.
So tell me about this other woman that this woman keeps calling. What's this number? Oh, this is the woman that, I was having an on and off relationship with after I got divorced. We were kind of messing around with each other, but we're still friends. That's the operative word. That's the word that some men use, friends.
Still friends.
To
Like
disguise that.
Bismarcky, right?
Bismarcky, right?
Just a friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Long story short, I said, well, how do you describe them to me? Like, what do you say? Well, they know I'm with you. They know of you. And I tell them you're my friend. I said, hold on a second.
Wait a minute, what?
You tell them that I'm your friend?
Not girlfriend or?
Yes.
Okay.
And I said, okay, we've been together for quite some time now. We have had Thanksgiving dinner together, Christmas. I've met your mother. I've met your kids. We have been talking about going to Arizona to meet my family. And you're sitting here on this phone telling me that you describe me as a friend. I said, okay. Are you going to stick to that? He said, I don't understand what's wrong with that. Because here, in the DMV, that's how we describe. I said, no. Okay. I said, okay. So I tell you what, how about I give you some space? In fact, I'm going to give you the whole galaxy. I'm going to give you all the space you need because I see where this is going and you've wasted enough of my time. And Chris, you know me, because when I drop a brother, it's pretty much a wrap. But the writing was on the wall for me. I'm with this man for almost 9 months, and he, for some reason, feels that he can't let go of these women in his past or be honest with these women that he has been involved with, that the dynamic of their friendship has changed. And he had a very hard time understanding that the dynamic changes when you bring someone in your life that you claim that you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with. There has to be changes that go on in your life as a man to reflect the commitment that you want to make to this woman in your life. You can't have it both ways.
Wow, that's a great point.
You can't say, I want to be in a committed relationship. I want to get married. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to have a child with you. But then you want to keep these women that you're screwing or that you have screwed in the past. And each of these women have given you something. So this one woman you have a connection to get your townhouse. This other woman, you have a connection because she works at the dealership so you can get a car. So each of these women play a vital role in your life for you to get something.
Right.
So then I had to ask myself, well, hell, what was the role I was playing? Because I sure wasn't giving you any money.
Right.
I was giving you love and attention and affection and trust and honesty and those things that come with a relationship. But it was very heartbreaking to realize that the person, particularly a man who says to you, I want you, please let down your wall and your guard. I'm not going to hurt you like the other men did. And I'm going to show you something different. And the moment you do that, they show a different side. But then I had to be honest with myself and say, was this side always there? I just was too blind to see it.
Right.
That was a moment. And yeah, and it happens. And I'm not ashamed to say that I was caught up because hindsight's always 20/20. And after you break up with somebody, it seems like you put on a new pair of glasses and you begin to go through the timeline. And yeah, I noticed things in like month 2. It was very minimal, but there were things after the fact that I noticed in month 2 that if I were in my right mind, I probably would have said, you know what, we need to step back from this, but I didn't.
So, and I understand what you're saying. So let me give you the flip side of that, because as a man who has had former lovers in his life and was dating, I give you a specific incident where and I've said this line as a man to a woman I was actually dating that I'm with you. Now, mind you, let me preface this by saying we have not got to or had not gotten to that portion where it was love, the word love, or I want to be with you. I want to be only with you. So let me preface by saying that.
It wasn't exclusive.
Right. It was building towards, because as a man, I do find this, especially at this age. And I said this to her.
Yes. I
said, I am not putting all my eggs in one basket. I said, I am with you, because she was at my, and I'm gonna give people in the podcast a glimpse into. She was chilling at the crib, saw some hair.
Some hair. Hold on.
She saw some hair.
She saw a braid, or she see a track, or
she saw some strands of hair. Strands of hair. All right.
Chris, you know
now, you know what I'm saying? Hey, and the funny thing is, I tell my boys this all the time. It's like, dude, you gotta go through your crib with a microscope. Like, dog, that's in the handbook, man. You can't have hair in the bathroom. You can't have hair in the shower. You just can't have hair all willy-nilly. But my idea, my mind at the time was, and this is how I played it, and I'm saying how I played it.
Right.
Women come and go. Women come and go.
Okay.
And I had gotten tired of going and saying, okay, I'm with you, and I'm gonna let these go because I'm with you.
Right.
And it falls by the wayside.
Right.
And now I find myself in a situation starting from scratch. Okay, yeah, it sounds like a bitch move because you want to have a safety net. That's what it basically sounds like. Yeah, it's keeping it 100. You want to have a safety net. However, even in this situation, you know, we had been off and on for a couple of months.
Okay.
Off and on for a couple of months.
Yeah.
But we were starting to build something. And my philosophy was, and this is what you said, former lovers, in my heart of hearts, if I feel this is going in that direction,
right,
then I will let him go. I would let it, I said, I will let the soil dry up. That's the actual verbiage I use. I will let the soil dry up.
Dry up.
I will let the soil dry up.
Okay.
If we are headed in that direction. Now, when, as you talking about exclusivity,
yes,
and what my man was trying to do, it's really kind of like, and like I said, I played the game before. I understand the game. You got a bird in the hand and you want a couple in the bush, but that's the bush, right. the ones in the bush, you've already have a connection with.
Yes.
And you don't want to let those connections go because exactly. And I asked this question of everyone because, and I'm gonna keep it 100, and I'm really gonna keep it 100. I've had some relationships in the past where I really effed up. And then the new chick came along, but I was still on that, damn, if I would have did X, Y, and Z, me and her were still together. Even though I love this chick and like this chick.
Right.
But had I did or called or let my ego pride, but the connection, the sex, she did a hell of a corn kettle. Whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
You are a mess.
But the new one is right here, and I need to give her my attention, but I effed up the first one. I find that as a dude, and I'm not gonna lie to you, those are the ones that I find hard to let go. But when I did not mess up, and she effed up, I gave that chick the deuces and kept it moving. So I don't know if that's applicable because at the same time, like you said, he had connections.
Well, and I think
how do you beat that?
Well, I think also too, and I heard this, it was a video on Facebook a couple days ago, and I heard this man say that, you know, you have to be very cautious when people say, and this is men and women, that they say they want to be in a relationship. Wanting to be in a relationship and being ready for everything that comes with the relationship are two totally different things. I'll give you a prime example. Chris, you've been to, many, many moons ago when you were moving from Jersey to Florida, you stayed at my place as a pit stop. And I was in an
Mhm.
apartment at the time. And I don't
Mhm.
know if I told you, but I stayed in this apartment for 12 years.
Okay.
And my brother, who has a mortgage company, was giving me so much grief. Robin, you're wasting so much money. You could be having so much money and saving money if you have your own
Yeah.
place. And I kept trying to tell him, I want my own place, but I did the research. And even though I'm financially able to afford my own place, I am not mentally prepared
I dig it.
to have my own place because
Mhm.
it comes with certain things. Your lifestyle changes. Everything that you do changes when you become a homeowner. You can't do the same thing when you've rented an apartment that you did when you own a house.
Amen to that.
Okay, we both know that because we're both homeowners now. But with the
Mhm.
toilet broke in my apartment, all I had would do call maintenance. And by the time I would come back home from work, it would be fixed. I don't have that
Right.
luxury anymore, but I grew to make those changes in my life. So when I was ready to go and search for a home, I had everything in order.
Gotcha.
And when I bought the house, I felt comfortable doing it because I made these proactive steps in preparation to getting the house.
Mhm.
And I feel that's the same way when you say you want to be in a relationship. You just can't say I want to be in a relationship because when you get in one, things have to change. And the same thing happens when you go from a relationship to a marriage.
You ain't lying.
There are things that have to change. And you have to ask yourself as a man or a woman, am I ready to let certain things go? I.e., my past. I know the sex was good with this dude, and he was making me call Jesus and the Lord and everything else. Am I ready to let that go? And the answer should be yes, because you're building a relationship with someone else. This woman
I
has
don't
been in
believe
my
we live in
life for
those
X
times.
years.
Yeah.
This woman's been in my life for X years, and I have this incredible woman. She's the total package. She is a unicorn. She is an anomaly. She is exactly what I've been looking for. I want her to be the mother of my children. She's a woman of God. I can pray with her. I can build a life with her.
Right.
Am I ready to let this other woman go who has been in and out of my life for umpteen years?
Right.
Can I be honest with her and say, baby, I've met the love of my life. This is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. I don't want to disrespect her. And I appreciate everything that we've had, but I have to move on to the next phase of my life. There aren't many men that are ready to do that, and aren't
Now,
many women who are ready to do that. It goes both ways. It
I
goes
can tell
both
you right
ways.
now, and I think that's where I run into that stump. Because even when I dated this last young lady that I went out with briefly, she, it was fun because everything was she had a clean slate. And her and I had been going around loop the loop. But the
Yeah.
very last time when we finally tried to do something, I literally had a clean slate. I was not on a dating site. I was not on Bumble.
Yeah.
When she came back, it was a loop the loop. It was like, okay, I can fully give her my attention and say that let's see where this goes.
Right.
Because and don't get me wrong, as a dude, and you as a dude, Robin, it's so hard to let that one go that you had that connection with, even though y'all was connected in three things. The other seven was trash. But the three things y'all were connecting in was like ridiculously connections. The other seven was trash. It was toxic. But that connection that y'all had is so hard to let that go. And don't get me wrong, it is a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to sit back and say, I need to let that shit go to deal with this new one.
But why would you have to classify it as a sacrifice? Because look at what you're about to gain.
But
Why
you
does
don't
it have to
understand
why does it have to be a sacrifice?
because you're dealing with past versus unknown future.
But how are you able to put your best foot forward and give 100% of you, who you are as a man, if
Mm-hmm.
you still have part of you on this other side of the fence?
And
That's
I
not
totally
fair to
understand.
that's not fair to the other woman. I.e., that wasn't fair to me
No,
because
and you're absolutely right.
the whole time he was giving me a part of him, but while I was giving all of me. And let me
True.
say that those were several conversations we had leading up to being exclusive. He brought it up of being exclusive. It wasn't me. He
You
brought
know
it
what?
up.
And it's funny that you say that because I do reflect on, like I said, when I did the podcast, Why Men Cheat. When a
Mm-hmm.
man comes to that threshold of he has something to lose,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, ultimately, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yes.
When I think that's when a man, and some of my boys may disagree, and
Yeah.
some of my boys have, but it's hard for them to admit that. As a dude with our testosterone and
Yeah.
all our ego and pride, the ones who have admitted to me that
Mm-hmm.
said I cannot lose her.
Right.
They were humble in their approach,
Right.
knowing that I cannot lose this woman.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and so as I say this as a single guy now, I it's hard to let those other connections go because I have not crossed that threshold where that I cannot say that been with a woman that I cannot lose
I respect that.
because of no. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it. I'm gonna keep it 1,000
Please.
because I got everything that Chris needs.
Yeah.
I have, and it is, and it's kind of, it goes back to that completeness.
Yeah.
I got everything that I need. Not materialistically, I got me. I'm whole already as a person, as you identify.
Right. Right.
But that woman that has yet to come in to give me that full expansion,
Right.
where I deem that as higher priority as me now.
Right.
And I'm realizing like, damn, I cannot lose her because now she's expanded me.
Yeah.
I have yet to hit that lightning in the bottle.
I respect that.
And that's why I said, but here's the problem with us.
Yeah.
And it's something you sat back and said, I can do me. But I'm so comfortable doing me, like, yeah, shit. Well, baby, you come. Oh, we can talk about the Aztecs. We can talk about Discovery Channel. But if your ass decide to act a fucking effing fool and walk out the door, I can do that shit on my own.
Well, it goes
How
back
does
to
that
what,
play into this?
but it goes back to what I have constantly had to remind myself, that you're taking a risk. The question is this person worth the risk? And I don't want to make it seem like it's a derogatory thing, but there was a season in my life where I was afraid to take the risk because of the choices that I made in men. I didn't make the best choices, and I ended up getting hurt and disappointed. Right. And that's when I took a pause when I was single for 12 years to work on me. That's another thing too. People really don't take the time to work on themselves. And I'm talking about childhood trauma. I'm talking about past relationships and hurts and divorces and everything else that comes along with ending relationships. And people, and some, I'm not part of this. I'm not really the type to hop, skip, and jump from one relationship to the next, because you're only taking baggage each time you do it and hurting people that don't deserve it. And you have to do your due diligence as an adult to say, what part did I play in the demise of this relationship? But what do I have to work on with me so I won't bring this negativity into the next relationship?
Right.
But the thing goes back, right. And it goes back to my thing is just be honest. If you are not ready to be in a relationship, then don't approach me and say, baby, I want to be exclusive with you. If you know you have these women on the side that you can't stop talking to and entertaining and flirting with them because you're getting some type of male stimulation from these women that you're flirting with, if you're not ready to let that go, then just be honest. I'm the type of woman, I'm sure a lot of women are out there, just be honest. Because then what I can do is guard my heart and put you on a level, on a friendship level, or a platonic level. And then I can spend my time continuing to work on me and living my best life. So the next man that comes along, they're not dealing with a damaged Robin or a hurt Robin. They're dealing with a Robin that's, okay, I'm available. Just be honest.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Could that change midway through the relationship? Because I've had it happen to me where I'm with you, I'm down with you. Matter of fact, I love me some you. But midway through the relationship, is like, I can't do this.
Of course that happens. That's life.
But it all
goes back to being honest and being transparent and having those type of conversations with your partner. And many people say that communication is paramount, but I'm going to take it a step further. You have to communicate, but you also have to have a partner that is able to comprehend what you're saying.
Girl, go on with that.
I'm about to bring out my teacher hat, Chris. It's not just about communication. You have to be able to comprehend.
Do you understand the words that's coming out of my mouth?
I'm just saying, you have to be able to comprehend what the other person is saying. If you're very narrow-minded and you're only looking through things from your lens and you're not able to see things through a different perspective, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't even lie to you, man. Well, Robin, it's been a pleasure. My dog is looking at me like, homeboy, we need to go outside so I can play. So yeah, for those on the podcast, I have a dog and he's looking at me like I am crazy. Aww. Because me and my homegirl, Robin, we can talk for hours and
hours.
And, you know, for those that are listening, I hope you understand that you are talking to two highly motivated, I want to use the word successful, but we're successful because we're still driving. We're still motivated.
Absolutely.
Independent single people.
Yep.
And so I want people to understand that this is a real conversation that we're having between two friends and two friends that go back to college that are still single today and that have gone through their trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand the severity of, oh man, they know each other. No, we are great friends and we know each other's history to go back like that.
Amen. And all of it, all the layers of each other.
Exactly. All of the layers.
Flaws and all.
So that's why I want people to take this seriously and just really sit down and listen, because, and the funny thing is some women don't have a man to sit back and share that will be honest and real, because even when I was in my relationships, I would come to you and we'll talk about it. You side-eyed me sometimes and be like, Negro, really?
I'm gonna need for you to switch that up, Chris. I'm gonna need
exactly. You might, switch gears, brother. So once again, Robin, I want to thank you. The package is in the mail for being on the show.
No package necessary. I just appreciate your friendship, Chris. You know I do anything.
You know how we get down.
Absolutely.
You know how we get down. All right, baby. Well, let me let you go, and we'll talk on the flip side.
Peace.
Peace.